Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be where you are out there. Welcome back to the live stream.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
How's it going out there, chat room? My name is Jeff Fritz. Today is February 26th, 2020, and we're going to write a little bit of code today. I've got my Vault Tech hat on today because we're going to do a little project management, but later on we're going to try again to deploy to Azure. Now, don't tell anyone. Shh, don't say the A word out loud, because clearly something in this world is against me being able to deploy to Azure, because just
oh my,
I know weird stuff happens and we don't get there. I don't know what it is. I mean, GitHub was down. That doesn't happen all the time. Well, it happened yesterday. But and then there was a power outage because the transformer at the local power station blew up in the middle of the stream. Who knew? We're gonna get this done. We're gonna get there today. Let me say hello to the folks that are here in the chat room. Robert Tables is here. Hello. Robert's another member of the Live Coders team. Make sure you check out his stream. D.D. Walsh. It's a little nutty. It's so good to see you, my friend. We had a great 2 days with Dee out in Redmond, out in Seattle, putting on the Visual Studio for Mac event that hopefully you tuned in and saw a little bit of on Monday. We had some streams yesterday from Microsoft Studios, and that was a little crazy. the equipment didn't behave the way we expected, and then there was a network outage, and that just made everything crazy stupid. Oh my gosh. MJTAU, hello, good to see you. I'm guessing, I'm not going to guess. DJ Vortex is here. Copper Beardy, there's another member of the Live Coders. Hello. Blazor, Mr. Magoo, welcome in. Eternal Dev Coder, hello. You like the hat? Thank you very much, Robert Tables. Unhip Coder, hello. Lily Hazel, hey there's my friend Lily Hazel. She's our community manager for the Live Coders team. So good to see you. Perhaps squirrels are knocking out the power. Oh dear Lord. Okay. I'm gonna have to talk about that. We're gonna have to talk about that. Yeah, those darn squirrels. Oh gosh. Is that Baherdar? Is that how you pronounce that? Hello, welcome in. Smab is here. You got snow, it sounds like, in the UK. Good morning, musical bookworm. And Schwami Streams is here. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. That's Andy Schwam. He's got a stream. He's been starting doing live coding on Wednesdays here on Twitch. Hello. Cam Does Cool Stuff is back for more. Ready to watch me make a fool of myself trying to deploy to Azure today. But don't tell anyone. Eagle Hansen, hello. Good afternoon. Good to see you. Okay. So we got a couple things going on here that I want to make sure I address. But I do need to address the squirrel in the room. So this whole thing happened with the squirrel. What was that, about last Friday? Friday before? And that was totally a thing. I'm not going to completely blame Michael Jolly and Dee Dee for that, but I am. And I tweeted about this because this is now becoming a little bit more of an idea, and the initial idea makes sense. We have our best live streams, our best code parties, first thing in the morning, West Coast time. So like 5, 6 in the morning, West Coast time. We get lots of our European friends dialing in, folks that are watching from across the United States and Canada and Mexico and even into South America as they're starting their morning. I appreciate you starting your morning with me, having a little cup of coffee, having a little breakfast, whatever it might be. So we had this idea, Dee Dee, Sarah Fats, and I, hey, why don't we do a stream from MVP Summit? Why don't we do a code party? And we could do it outside from the Microsoft tree houses. Nobody's going to be over there. These are these beautiful tree houses that were built so that employees could work outside, enjoy the outdoor, and they're just gorgeous. A tremendous space to have a meeting in. We could set up a camera, have a really good time there. So I tweeted about it. Let's have a Code Party tech interview live stream one morning during MVP Summit before the actual conference starts. We could do it first thing in the morning. The conference starts at like 8:30, so we can do something before 8 West Coast time. We could talk about VisualStudio.net and developer tools. And they want me to wear the squirrel costume. Here's that tweet. Tree houses with squirrels, yes. So here's the thing. When you look at the list of likes here, it's a number of other live coders, it's a number of other folks. It's my management chain now, including the corporate vice president that I report to, Amanda Silver. Oh no. So, and there's Dee Dee right there. Yes. So this is becoming more and more of a thing here, friends. It's a winner. I don't know. So we might have to do something with this. I don't know. We're gonna have to plan this, figure out what we can do here. We're going to have a live coders dinner at MVP Summit, but we may be doing this, have some of our live coder friends join us and go a little nuts, as it were, right? That's a thing, huh? Go a little. Dee Dee wants to dress as Elmer Fudd. Maybe. That could be a thing. I'm on the wrong chat here. Let me change over to this one. My featured chat was on the wrong channel. There we go. Yeah, right. Robert Tables has this right. What embarrassing things would you do for your job? You should see all the things that I've done. the different colors that I've dyed my beard, and now I've worn a squirrel costume. Are you kidding? It's what kind of a job is this, right? There's the idea of the minute. Yeah, dressing as Elmer Fudd. Make that totally. Actually, MJT. No. Not a squirrel hat. A squirrel costume. We had a costume that wore live on stream. You can check the clips. They're out there from that. But Dee thinks it's a winner. Okay. Squirrel costume plus the Blazor is money. Is it? I don't know. We'll have some fun with it. We'll talk tech. We'll have a good time. Here's the thing. Here's what I think we should do with this. And chat room, I trust you. Okay? I don't know about this Dee person, but chat room, I trust you. I was thinking it would be really cool if we hooked this up to some sort of a charity component, to help raise money for one of the code charities that we've worked with, and do something for technical education. I think there's something there. Squirrels Without Borders. What? Is that a thing to do? No, a technical education group. Black Girls Code. Women Who Code. What is it? Girls Who Code, I think, is the other one. There's a bunch of these. Coder Dojo we supported. We can figure out one of these. View Vixens, we could do something for them. Sure. Additional camera angles to see the dev div team responses to the squirrel costume. No. And congratulations, MJT. You've now created a mess because there's now Diet Coke everywhere all over Dee's monitor. All right. Hey, Stelzy, good to see you. So we're going to talk about this. The MVP Summit is the third week of March. What is it, 16 through 21, out at Microsoft campus. A bunch of folks will be there from the live coders. They'll be streaming throughout the week. From there, we're going to try and do a live coders meetup show live from Channel 9. I'm working on the details for that, but we're going to try and make that happen. Folks like the Bald Bearded Builder will be there, Source Scoot, InstaFluff, Ninja Bunny 9000, just to name a few. James Montemagno will be there, and we're going to try and put something together live from Channel 9. Never got to see the tail, no, because I sit down. So maybe in the treehouse you'll be able to see the squirrel tail from the squirrel costume. We'll see about that. Let me get some music to code by playing here, and then I want to do a little project management, a little open source project management here, before we go and try and deploy to Azure. Don't say the A word. Don't get me wrong. Love the product. Tremendous cloud services, but every time I try and use it on this stream, bad things happen. So let me get some music playing here in the background. I'm going to get, there is no brown or khaki color to match my hat. Name for a music to go by here. Let me go with orange. I guess that's kind of close. There we go. This is music to code by our friend, Mr. Carl Franklin. It's scientifically designed. It's engineered to get you in the flow, get you in the groove, so that whatever task it is you're working on, you can focus on and just get stuff done. All those other worries kind of fade away while you're listening to music like this. Check it out, mtcb.pwop.com, or you can execute the music command there in the chat room and get your copy today. 20 songs, I think it's $40. So $2 a song, that's pretty good, and each song is 25 minutes long. Check it out. Oh my gosh, Dee's actually already on Amazon looking for this. There's an Elmer Fudd costume. That might not work. So if you haven't met Dee, she's a smaller woman. She's a little vertically challenged. That's okay. Gareth, thanks so much for the host. Good to see you. Gareth Hubble is here. He's another member of the Live Coders team. Z Lucian says, open source project management, tell me more. Let's do that. let's do that. So we've been working on this project over here. This is the BlazorWebFormsComponents. And this is an open source project. It's a community project that I'm trying to raise the profile of inside of Microsoft. And I'll tell you that Monday, the PM for the Blazor team, Daniel Roth, saw a little bit of what we're doing here, and he's kind of excited. He likes what we've accomplished. Need to show him a little bit more, and he's very interested in seeing what we can do with this. And spoke to Scott Hunter a little bit. He's very interested in learning more, seeing more about our project. Scott Hunter, of course, is the director for .NET, right? He controls the direction of the .NET Core and .NET Framework, .NET Framework and the .NET runtimes and .NET tooling that Microsoft is building. So good to see that those folks are interested in what we're doing. But let's get into this. Let's talk about some of the pull requests we have out here. Where's the and then? I was about to say and then, but I need to actually... And then? There we go. Respond to some comments on our issues. Plot out a couple more issues because we're starting to see folks wanting to pick up and work on things. So after we do, hopefully they pick up and say, oh yeah, let me go take that and go work on it. So we'll talk through a little bit of that. I want to get your feedback, chat room. Here's where the project is out on GitHub. Let me share the link into chat for you. Yep, thank you, Gareth, with the link to the GitHub. That'll get you to that specific project. DJ Vortex asks, and this is a good question. What do you need to install for the project? Couldn't get the packages to restore for the BeforeWebForms project. BeforeWebForms uses .NET Framework 4.8. So you will need Visual Studio 2017 or 2019 installed with the latest updates, which will give you the ability to install the dev pack for .NET Framework 4.8. And that should get you the ability to build the BeforeWebForms project. Now, BeforeWebForms, that project let me show you the tree here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So the actual source for the project are these two right here, BeforeWebFormsComponents, BeforeWebFormsComponents test. So these are both built with .NET Standard. These test might be .NET Core 3.1. I think it's .NET Standard though. Either way, you need the .NET SDK. These ones in the samples, you don't actually need these to build and work with the project, but the after Blazor projects are .NET Core 3.1 and later, and BeforeWebForms is .NET Framework 4.8. Musical Bookworm. Oh, very. So you're kind of crisscrossing things there. Yeah, you might be missing 4.8, DJ Vortex. Let me close that down. Gareth. Ooh. Had an email from an old colleague. Subscribed to his training stuff mentioning people moving from WebForms to Blazor. Ooh, yes, please. That would be great if you could connect them with me. Either on Twitter would be terrific. And we can take steps from there if it makes sense to discuss further. That would be tremendous. Thank you. Let me hang on. So I want to get to the Musical Bookworm with a follow-up question here. How do you go about making user interface tests for something like WebForms in Blazor? So you're crisscrossing things. WebForms, ASP.NET WebForms is technology that was built on .NET Framework. You can't really test it from Blazor. Blazor is new and runs in the browser if you were to use the WebAssembly instance of that. So to navigate and do WebForms things from Blazor, it's gonna be really tough to kind of cross that framework boundary. You don't typically see them work together. Folks look at this as a one-way rewrite. It's not as much a migration, but a rewrite to go from WebForms to Blazor. WebForms been around since 2001. Blazor introduced in, let's call it 2018. So send him the link to the stream and GitHub. Thank you, Gareth. Appreciate that. Mostly back end is unit test, not so much UI. Okay. Curious Drive asking, hopefully one day make it to the live coder group. You've been building Blazor WebAssembly chat app on Twitch. Nice. That's great. Anybody can apply to the team. Check it out at if you go to livecoders.dev. You can get the link to the page, and there's at the team page at the bottom of it is an application link, and that'll take you to our GitHub where you can create a pull request. You open an issue on GitHub, and it automatically the team wrote a GitHub action that will when you key in here's what my Twitch account is, it'll go find your Twitch account and verify that you're a Twitch affiliate or a Twitch partner, and put an appropriate label on it. Neat stuff. So I think it was Benjamin Landon BR built that. Really great. All right, let's get into this. So I have 4 pull requests out here. I want to manage these first. I'm going to take a look at these. I'm going to go from oldest to newest. I love that they've all got green checks. The green check is an indicator that continuous integration. All of our unit tests ran successfully for these because I have Azure DevOps wired up. Azure DevOps watches the repository, and if there's a pull request, if there's a change, a commit that's added into source control, it goes and tries to build and then runs all of our tests against it. This is Gareth Leachman. Gareth he's been contributing. You can see his name up on the top there on the crawl with all the contributors to the project. Gareth says, this fixes the grouping logic in list view. New tests and the example updated. Modified the use of the even parameter again. And have used a function, a func, right? A func in C# is a delegate. It allows you to specify a method to call, but it can be called later. You can pass that around, right? It's a delegate, is what we call that in programming. To calculate the item template or alternate template. I think it reads better this way. That's a very good point that Gareth is making here, is for open source software, not just open source software, but software that other folks have to manage. If you work on a sizable development team, if other people can't read your code might as well be garbage. Somebody else has to pick up and maintain it, not just you. If you're the only one that can maintain the software for the team, great, you've got infinite job security. But you've also put the project in infinite peril, because if something happens to you, you get hit by a bus, you get sick, whatever, you leave the company, nobody can maintain that software now. That's a big problem. That's a big problem. So don't do that. Write your code in a way that can be shared and other folks can interpret. So let's see. So here was to note that the cascading value takes a render fragment as its child content. Putting the builder template outside of the cascading value works, but moving it inside the tag, it doesn't. Yes, okay. So this was something that we saw, that the context, when you're building a Razor template, a Razor component, and you pass a cascading value here, you wrap some block of code with this cascading value tag, you almost change scope inside of it.
Let me add some value.
Svava! That was loud, I'm sorry.
Bonus 20 what mischief?
Thank you so much for that. What mischief? We're writing some code here. That's what mischief. Who's our new follower there? Thank you for joining us. Is that K Burrows? Welcome in. I'd like to point out, friends, there was a bonus, some bonus on that cheer. They still haven't, Twitch, I'm calling you out, Twitch. You still haven't told us what the promo is, what the event is. You haven't sent us an email. You haven't put up a blog post. I appreciate the bonus bits. What's going on? Help me out here. I'd like to promote. I'd like to talk about why there are bonus bits. But you haven't told us. Can you help us? Thank you. I'm not asking for a lot here. You're going to make something happen on my stream. I want to know what's going on. Hey, JAF1021 is here. Hello, hello.
Hey, Ma! We get some meatloaf!
Can we?
We want it now!
We do?
The meatloaf! What's she doing? I never know what she's doing.
I don't know. How's it going, Mom? Good to see you. Oh, don't get me started, Degs, about YAML. Oh my goodness. YAML is a pain here. So Gareth was running into the same thing here. Excuse me. Where it context, the scope of a variable changes. And wow, there's a bunch of things here. Let me take a look at the files. He modified 9 files to improve the tests here. So we also improved our demo, okay, to show some of this grouping. Item separator template is just a couple of these. And the code behind, yeah, he went and we now have a way to generate a collection of widgets that we're going to put inside of our tests. Right, and how can I explain this? There's a sample project that will generate some fake data for us to be able to connect to, and that those data points are widget classes. Well, we need a way to be able to generate and say, hey, give me a bunch of these so we can data bind to it without having an actual database. It's kind of nice like that. That way, it's that way we don't have to worry about connecting to or running something else. It's just a collection of values there. Thank you, Gareth, for sharing that clip. Yes. Excuse me, I should have taken some decongestant before I started here today. I'm friends. Let's see here. It's been 5 days, and we still don't know what this Hunter Cheer promotion is. Can you please send an email or a blog post or a notification to tell us what we're promoting? Unhappy Twitch partner. Okay. Let's see if they get the message now. Someone at Twitch is probably too afraid to say something wrong, so they don't say anything. That's the worst and wrong thing to do. Completely agree, Stelzy. The lack of communication is worse than the wrong communication. It's easy to apologize and ask for forgiveness. It's kind of hard to figure out what's going on without any communication at all. Because I would love to promote it. I'm guessing this has to do with the Amazon series, The Hunters. I would love to promote and talk about it, and you know what? Let us, I can go watch the first episode and talk about how great a show it is. You need to give me a pointer, friends. So, my apologies for being distracted there. Hey, boom, boom. Let me get back to the code here. So, Gareth does his tests here. He's got his... So this is how we do tests in Blazor. This is using Eagle Hansen's Razor component testing library. Really great stuff, being able to specify inside of Blazor as markup, which is when you're building a component, when you're building user interface, this makes sense to us because it looks like what we're actually going to output. So incredibly flexible, and it makes sense to me as the user interface developer to be able to say, oh yeah, I recognize that code. I know what that's going to do. Now, I don't know exactly what this is going to do. I'd have to read through it a little bit. But I can see at the bottom here, here's what I expect it to do. And I love the little diagram that Gareth has built here. And we know that the tests ran successfully. Gareth's done a tremendous job for us on this project. So I am going to accept this because it looks pretty good. It looks right. So I'm going to squash and merge. Take this into the project. Let's see. Let's take... yeah, I'll take that entire bit. That's fine. We're supposed to know what our code does. Knew you were doing something wrong somewhere. Amazon Hunters, here's your pointer. Thank you. Hey, boom boom. Yeah, hey. Look, I'm happy to promote. It's not... I want to help the service. I want to help tell people, here, check out the really cool stuff that's going on. I want to encourage you, viewers, to watch other Twitch broadcasters. That's why I raid someone at the end of every one of my streams. That's why I do shoutouts to say, hey, make sure you check out these other streamers. But when stuff just happens on my broadcast that I don't know why they're happening, you put me in a bad place. I don't know how to respond to those. Now, some of those things that we do that are generated and happen because of viewer interaction, okay, great. I can respond to that. But when something happens because the platform changes, what do I do? So, why does it say I'm hosting right now? Am I still broadcasting or am I hosting? Am I online? Okay. I've got an indicator that popped up here that says I'm hosting someone else. Okay. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. All right. I'm going to ignore that and keep moving on. Yeah, there's the indicator over at the bottom of the Twitch Stream Manager just popped up. I don't get it. I'm going to refresh here. Yeah, right? Did I just get banned? Did I just get a suspension? Don't think so. And I've offered to get on phone calls. I've offered to get on emails with some folks to talk about this. And, no. Okay, good. Thank you, chat room, for double-checking that on me. I appreciate it, Dan. Let's keep moving through here. Let's get through this. Fixed the case on a JavaScript method. Name on the getter. Oh, Lithics, what did I do here? Hisham writes in and says, looks good to me, but the case on the setter on the getter, did I? I have the wrong... Excuse me. So we were working on a base page element inside of ASP.NET Web Forms. There's this concept. Excuse me. There's this concept of a page that allows you to interact with the web code you generate. So we wrote a page that allows you to do interaction with that, and a base layout that'll let you interact with that as well. I've got to implement that in my documentation. Okay. Anyways, the JavaScript that we use to get and interact with the title, I have the wrong casing here. You're right, Lithics. Oh my goodness. Yep. So let's merge that. It's only one commit, right? Yeah. So I don't need to squash and merge. I can just do that merge commit. Yep. Thank you so much, Lithics. Appreciate that. thank you for picking up on this. There we go. All right. Let's take a look at the next one. So that's in our spike branch, right? It's called a spike because it's a little research and development, someplace that we're testing out a concept, and I feel like that concept is moving in the right direction, and we're going to end up bringing that in and making that a full piece, a full-fledged feature in the framework. So, hey, Lithix is here. Half the job. Thank you so much. Because you have to use magic strings. Ooh, that's a really good idea, Lithix. Hang on, let me put this here. It's because you have to use magic strings. So magic strings is the concept of, it is referring in software to, you have a string, you have, right, some text that needs to match up with somewhere else, and because it needs to match exactly, it's magic, right? Because it matches, features happen. So Lithix has a very good question here. Is there a way to get the code to convert the method name into a string? That's a really good idea. That is. I don't know. Right? If we could kind of centralize that somewhere. I don't know. I mean, we could generate the JavaScript method name from a C# class, and if we actually like code generated the JavaScript, that would be tricky. That would be messy. Doable. You know what? Can we open that as an issue of centralizing the magic strings for the JavaScript that we need to execute here? Name of would work if it was a C# method that we're doing, but we're crossing the language boundary here, and we're going from C# into JavaScript, and nar the twain shall meet. But if we're able to get right, JavaScript is nothing but text at the time that the C# is being executed, right? They execute in two different environments, right? Our C# code will execute within the space of a compiler. It gets evaluated, and that binary then gets executed. At the time that binary is being evaluated, the JavaScript on disk is still text. It hasn't been interpreted yet. So we could generate the JavaScript from that. We could do something like that. Just to do that code generation at build time is where I'm thinking, Lithix. TypeScript would work as well? Yeah. So there's something there. Eagle has an idea. Perhaps the pattern of creating a custom Blazor component service that wraps the IJS runtime and provides strongly typed methods that are used to call JavaScript. That's kind of what we're doing in there, in this method, this title method that we put together. We won't know the shape of those methods at the time, right? We won't know the shape of those JavaScript methods at the time that we're writing the C#. That's why I'm kind of thinking, have the C# specify and generate those methods in the JavaScript. I don't know. There's a discussion to be had there, because that's going to be interesting. Robert Tables has a follow-up question. Does JavaScript not get any syntax highlighting in linting? It does. But right, we're crossing the application boundary here. Let me show with a little bit of an example here of what Lithix is suggesting and what we're running into here, and where Eagle is kind of pointing, because this could be interesting. And there's something I found out there. Let me see if I can grab it real quick. There was something I found. Where am I? There we go. Nope, I don't see. It was. I think it was. think this was it. Yeah, this was it. I want to show that in a second. So what's happening here? Let me back up. Where's the page? Here. And I'm going to step over to this base layout that you need to use. Hello, I'm hitting F12. I'd like to go navigate to it. You're killing me here, Smalls. I can't navigate to it. I have a feeling that it's just Visual Studio hasn't finished loading up yet. No, that didn't navigate. Are you kidding? Thank you, but I'd rather be there. No. Okay. Thank you. So we receive a JavaScript runtime here, and at this point, when we actually invoke the methods, is when that JavaScript is laid out. And oh, you know what? It had opened a window for me and was showing me where that was. That's why I didn't see anything. Okay. But at the time that the C# is executing here, it's just a block of text that it's referencing. It doesn't actually know the JavaScript. It doesn't have any insight into the actual script that's available. So to Robert Table's question of, do you have IntelliSense pointing over to the JavaScript? I don't, because I don't have any way to see, here's the script that's on the page that this is executing. This is kind of a promise that I'm passing along and saying, go find a method named this and execute it. And if it doesn't, it fails silently. So it would be tremendous to be able to have that insight, but I don't know what's on the page to be able to call. Let's see here. Eagle has a comment here. A benefit of having a separate service for calling JavaScript is that it makes it much easier to mock the interaction with JavaScript in tests. You have to consider JavaScript interop as a network call in times of testing. Wrap it in a service that you can easily... Right. So that's why our JavaScript interop is already provided as an interface here. So we could mock it out, right? Provide some sort of a faux JavaScript service that we're interacting with. But yeah, Eagle's not wrong. That when you want to say, well, did this thing actually happen? It takes a little bit of investigation, a little bit of manipulation there to take a look. Hisham has his first contribution here. Let's take a look. Add login control unit tests. Added... password should be a get, but due to the lack of a Blazor parameter, made it a getter and setter. Let's take a look at... what we have here. So in test login controls to authenticate. So added a fixture for login for the login control. Okay, on authenticate, login, authenticate. So the authenticate test creates a new claims principal. That's a person. Here's who we're going to log in as, and this is their identity. This is who they say they are. They say they're James Bond with test authentication. Okay. Authentication state provider mock. Easy for me to say. Authentication state provider, navigation manager, get component under test. Find the username, find the password. So set admin and some password. Submit the form. The markup should contain your login attempt was not successful because it's the fake password. It's not the right password. Okay. Change it to secret password. Submit your login attempt was not successful. We're expecting secret password. Oh, should not contain your login attempt was not successful. And this is the actual authentication happening down here. Checking to see if it's admin and secret password. The suggestion that I would have here would be for a test. These here we are back to, like Lithix was saying, magic strings. This is magic strings. This is a great example from Hisham of what a magic string was. We're looking for admin, right? And see, it's the exact same string that needs to be in both places. And we have constructs in code, in C# that allow us to reference the same string. So we can write it once and just reference it, right? We can build constants into this to make that. And same thing with the password down here. Cool. We can make that just a little bit easier, a little bit more readable.
Inconceivable!
I know. And be able to work with that. And I'm going to look down here. I think I'm willing to bet that we have that same structure going on here. Logged in and form submit logged in should be true. Okay. Logged in. So I like seeing the tests here from Hisham. These are really good, but I'm going to push back and ask that we eliminate the magic strings here. Right? Right here. Can we replace these strings with a constant, with a pair of constants, so that our test methods use those and are guaranteed that they match? We want to reduce the number of magic strings in our code. Right, I'm going to put a similar comment. Right, this one's okay. Here. Let's see. More magic strings. Please move to a pair of constants. And it's not a bad bit of feedback here. That's fine. Made it a getter and setter. Alright, I think we're going to be okay with that. And the other feedback from Gareth. And I'm going to take a look here at the comments in the chat room in just a minute after I finish reading through here. But the other comment from Gareth was, might be useful to have a control sample. I think there is a sample, though, for those login components. Let me come back over here. So the samples up here, right? These are my sample projects. There's login controls. And specifically the components that Hisham was going after. Let's take a look at the list of files changed. Were around logged in, login errors, and authentication. I think we have those. So, I think we have samples covered in the login controls. It's under pages, control samples, login controls folder. Do you think yeah. So we'll get a little bit of feedback. We've got some feedback there for Hisham to take a look at. The tests look good otherwise, but just want to reduce the usage of those magic strings. Let me take a look here back at the chat room. Is there any way to make it fail not so silently if the method doesn't exist, so you could capture errors and avoid mystery bugs? That's a good question. I don't know, Musical Bookworm. That's a really good... I would have to take a look. We'll have to take a look at that. I'm not sure. Continuing reading through here. Eagle says it's easier to mock if you provide a higher level of abstraction that wraps the JavaScript runtime. Sure, that makes sense. Sure. Art for the Apocalypse. Good morning. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. Marco, hello. End lines. What lines? We probably should just put our JavaScript method calls into constants also, suggests Lithix. I'm not opposed to that. If we were to, maybe constants is a little bit too strong, but maybe what about this, right? And maybe this feeds into a little bit of what Robert Tables was saying about having some IntelliSense. For this project, we've introduced our first block of JavaScript that we want to interact with, and it's this object for manipulating and working with the page. Clearly, right, we could probably take the methods that we're going to add to and work with from this object, and honestly, that's a little bit of what I was trying to do here, was wrap those and put them there. I like the idea of having a C# object for the purposes of JavaScript interop that wraps that JavaScript object so that I can easily and reliably call from one object into the other. And the other way around works as well, right? From JavaScript, I can call .NET code with the Blazor framework, right? There's this back and forth across that technology bridge that we can do. So I like this idea, but I would take it one step further, Lithix, and just wrap an entire class around it so that we know those magic strings live in only one place. And currently, I've buried it here. And I haven't pulled in the latest source code from the repository yet, so it's still the old version. But I think that makes sense. Let me know. I'm curious your feedback there, chat room. The fun of magic strings is when you mistype them in one place and have to change them in hundreds of projects and millions of files, you're guaranteed to miss a couple. Stelzy, exactly. That's why we want to get rid of magic strings. Isolate them so they only exist in one class, one place, and we can, with code, with compiler, with the aid of the compiler, get that enforcement that you are referencing the appropriate thing. Blazor Mr. Magoo has an interesting point here. If you have your JavaScript method calls as configuration, then the end user can override them if they have specific requirements. That's not a bad idea, too. Sure. Almost be able to pass in a callback that says, at the end of doing this thing, do something else. I like I think that's a good design tenet that we should consider. Let me tell you what, with respect, Mr. Magoo, can you do me a favor and just open an issue on the project with that, just maybe the title is new design tenet ? And with that comment, because there's something to that we can learn from as we grow and change and advance the application here. Set a timer for 5 minutes. we need to do a giveaway. We need to do a sticker giveaway. I'm behind and I have a bunch to ship out here, but we're overdue on a sticker giveaway. Stick around for another 5 minutes and we're going to do a sticker giveaway live here in stream. Create a type that derives from JavaScript interop and implements IJS runtime. Really good ideas, Stelzy. Yeah, Veronica Hex is here. Hello, and so is Raziel Descartes. Good to see you. Thank you so much for staying up late there from India, tuning in and watching. I really appreciate you joining us here on this evening. Very cool that you're tuning in. Dan Siegel says, here's another thought. Embrace the magic. You can embrace the magic strings and just write an entire feature based on abracadabra. We'll make it better. It'll be impressive. It'll be the greatest thing ever. No. We want magic. Look at that. We're getting there. Lots of JavaScript. That's right, Phoenix. Abracadabra. What are you doing here? 10,000 followers is within reach, says Coding Stocks. Yes, look at that. We're getting close. 9719. We will do a 12-hour stream live. And we're going to have guests join us. I may even have somebody was suggesting this, and I think it's a great idea. I may even have Discord open for folks to be able to jump in and chat and talk with us. We'll see. 12 hours, yes. Copperbeardy prefers Open Sesame. Well, who is it? Somebody said they really liked I has style. I has style. I has layout style. I has font style. I has style. Okay. I'm not a Kardashian, but I has style. There, see, that's a thing. All right. So there was our feedback for Hisham. Let me take a look. We have one more pull request to take a look at here. I think that was my comment. So Hisham asked for us, introduce component ID generator. Okay, so this is interesting. This is something that we need to think about. Let me show you the bug that was opened here by Kabazi, actually. You might have some JavaScript that depends on the HTML that WebForms is creating. Does that mean we should render the ID property in the HTML? So when you build a web page, you can put IDs on each element appropriately so that folks that have CSS can pick out a specific piece of the page and say, make this font bold of this ID, right? Or grab this ID and make the background blue, whatever it might be, right? Raimu says, I prefer I has cheeseburger. Yes! How's it going there, my friend? Raimu's another member of the Live Coders team. Hello. iCopper of type beardy. Nice. I like that. Robert Tables asks, that's not a bad idea. It's not a bad question. Does this mean there is something fundamentally missing in Blazor or Visual Studio? No, I don't think so. If the selling point is .NET in JavaScript, seems to me that crippling the JavaScript aspect is a massive oversight. No, I wouldn't say it's crippling. Crippling's a little strong there. To be fair, right, executing JavaScript methods from within HTML, right, it is a magic string. The only time that you see, right, that code being referenced and actually executed, same thing with any of these hrefs, but the only time you see that actually being executed by the HTML is at runtime. There is no way to get a compiler to help you. So when you have C# that's reaching out and calling JavaScript, just like the HTML, it's referencing it, and if it doesn't match, just like the HTML, it's not going to execute. So I don't think it's crippling. I think it's got the same amount of decoupling from the JavaScript as the HTML does. .NET developers prefer these things to be much more tightly coupled. So a .NET developer might agree with you that, I would like it to be more tightly knit. And that's where I think building an API to wrap it, to wrap some of these calls so we have that connection in one place would be valuable. Oh, well, that's a little bit tricky. The follow-up comment for folks that are watching the recording, a linter perhaps. I'm not sure where a JavaScript linter would know where to jump into the C# code. Right, we need some... I think the concept that you're pointing to is good, is proper for this project and maybe for other Blazor projects. But when we make that jump, yes, I said JavaScript. When we do want to do that jump from C# to JavaScript, does that method exist? Right? Have some sort of a compiler that's able to review and look at that. Right now, I would suggest that perhaps a way to do that would be using Eagle's Razor component testing library. But even then, you need to make sure that script is on the page that you're testing with. So it's kind of tricky. I'm not sure. There's definitely a concept here, and I would. Can we open an issue for this? Let's open an issue in the repository, because I think Robert Tables is on the right path. That a build tool that does, and when I say build tool, I don't necessarily mean that when I say compile.net, but maybe something that runs in the continuous integration process that makes sure that right, because that's when a linter runs as well as during continuous deployment. Hey, does this make sense? Is this well formatted before we deploy? Have something do that check that this thing actually exists, and how we identify where those JavaScript methods are. There's something to this. Yeah, I would definitely like to dig into that, but now in this stream isn't the right time. I want to open an issue so I can put that in the stream content parking lot, because there's definitely something there that we can get to and figure out. My gosh, you are so spot on, Robert Tables, and I'm just putting this up so folks can see. When it's not handled, when you don't know that you have that disconnect, that you aren't properly referencing something, people having a poor development experience. Yeah. Let's park that and so that we can come back and spend a stream thinking about how to better do that bridge, that interop between JavaScript and C# for Blazor development, because there's definitely something here. And Stelzy with a good follow-up here. Jumping the boundaries to JavaScript has to be done in the C#.NET side of things, because JavaScript is JavaScript. That's a dynamic language, but there are ways to go from JavaScript back into .NET and receive and do .NET interop from JavaScript. So there's now something that we would want to run. There's where we'd want to run a linter, is when we have JavaScript code that calls .NET. Have the linter be able to reach into the .NET command line and say, write the JavaScript linter, reach into the .NET command line and say, does this thing exist? So that the JavaScript linter properly raises it. That, I think, is pretty easy to do, comparatively. Not easy. It's not easy. Hang on. It's easier to do than from C# saying, does this JavaScript method exist? Because I need to make sure then that that script is actually referenced and on the same in the browser when the C# code executes. There's something there. Ooh, DJ Vortex. Wait a second. This might be onto something. JavaScript function attribute to help build functions. There is a JavaScript interop. There is a, it's like J# or something. Somebody wrote a library, and it's out there on NuGet and chat room. See if you can find this, that would allow you to generate JavaScript from C#. It's a build operation, and it's weird, but it would let you generate JavaScript directly from your C# code. There was something that somebody did that. CEF# lets you go from JavaScript to C#. Yeah, I need to go the other way. I'll tell you what. I don't want to have too many JavaScript functions, Mr. Magoo. It's really a little bit of glue here to make things work. I can certainly... should the project use configuration for any magic strings? Let me kick this off, and folks can capture a little bit of stream of thought here. Generate JavaScript. No. Handle JavaScript interop. No. What is this? JavaScript interop build tooling? We have a concept for some tooling to help lint or provide build checking to ensure that C# code that calls JavaScript, I'll say hello to our new friends here in just a second, is referencing scripts that exists. Let's just start there. And folks that want to chime in and kind of push a little bit on here. Bridge.net suggests Ultramark. What is Bridge.net? Open source C# to JavaScript compiler. There we go. There we go. That might help us. That might help us. Can somebody link to this in that discussion there on that issue? Because that's definitely going to do something to make this a heck of a lot easier for us to work with. Veronica has a link for us. I think that's a little bit of the documentation. Yeah, this is what we're doing inside of our code. Right, so you have a script that's referenced. We get a JavaScript runtime, and we're able to say JavaScript runtime invoke async. Yes, this is the kind of thing this is the documentation that goes next to what we're doing here in our code. So there's my JavaScript interop, and I'm saying execute this JavaScript function. So Veronica, you know what? Let's can you do me a favor? Can we attach that documentation to this so that we get here's what the tooling currently does. Let's attach that. Veronica, if you'd like, you can paste that link in here so that the folks that aren't up to speed, that aren't familiar with this type of interaction from Blazor, can see here's what we're trying to extend and make easier. I love this discussion, and I don't mind kind of going off on a tangent here on this. My timer went off, and I never acknowledged it here because we got so wrapped up, so excited around this. Are we giving up on deployment for today? Not yet, Smab. We're gonna try and get there. Well, I promise. We've got a little bit more here to hit. But let's do that giveaway. Let's I didn't mean to click that link. Where did they go? I know it's here. There it is. All right. Let's give away some. I have some Voice Mod Pro licenses to give away too. Let's start off with a sticker pack for us getting to 9,700 followers. Who are the last folks that we had here? Somebody Epic, Levi555. It's Goosey. That looks like a bot. 87 Krill. M79. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follows. Anthronolate. Welcome in. Let's give away not sticker page, a sticker pack. No. And I'm going to change this command to not nuts. We're going to change that to !Blazor. If you're in the chat room and you want to win not a VoiceMod Pro license, a sticker pack. So stickers that look like some of the emotes that we have, just like these. There you go. There's the Fritz bot with sunglasses. I've also got the bot with well, there's the .NET bot. I've also got, here he is. Right, there's the Octocat with a rainbow beard. I've also got the Super C# logo. Bunch of stickers in there. I don't care where you are in the world. !Blazor. Get your name in the box and you can win. You can win a sticker pack. We'll send that out to you. I'm sending them out this week. I've got plenty of these things backed up. I've got backpacks. I've got hats that I need to ship out. And we're going to make sure that everybody gets their stuff by next week. So, drop your name in the box with !Blazor. Stelzy!
Steelty79 just resubscribed for 16 months.
Thank you so much, Stelzy. I appreciate that. 16 months of support. And that'll give us another donation to code.org. Really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Let's see here. That's it? No more? Oh my goodness. How's my day going? Seiko Player is here. Hello, hello. We're doing pretty good. I think we're almost done. We're going to do this last code review. We'll type up some issues, and we'll try and deploy to Azure in just a little bit. Seiko Player is another member of the Live Coders team. Make sure you follow them. Can I get a shout out? Geek Explorer, thank you for tuning in. Hey, Sean, it's not ! Here. It's ! Blazor this time. We'll get you in the box. And you'll have a chance to win. No, not Blazor with an E. Blazor. There it is right there on the screen. See that? This is how I can weed out the people who aren't paying attention and not watching. See that? Folks that just stop by and they're like, hey, I want to win a prize. Well, you know what? I changed it. Yes, something strange is happening indeed. Sometimes Twitch makes it a bit cryptic to know if you have to resub. Oh, with the Prime sub. Yes, there's definitely a thing there. They do make it a little bit trickier to remember that you need to click that button to renew. So, let's see what else is going on here. Blazoomer, nice.
Make it so.
Let's do it. Let's make it so. Let's hit the button. Let's give away a sticker pack here. Coming at you. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, agreed. And we're going to send out stickers to somebody. Wait, Stelzy, you can't say it's rigged yet when it's not done. You already have one on the way. Do you? I need to double check there. Eternal Dev Coder. Congratulations. Totally rigged. Rigged. Alright. Eternal Dev Coder. So rigged. Let's see here. There we go. You were lurking. Sorry, Fishing Dev. And I'm going to back up and head back over here and restart the music. All right. So rigged. All the rigged. All right. We have one more So I really like this idea of bridge.net. Thank you for capturing a little bit of the discussion here. This is really great stuff, and I think there's definitely something we can do there. T4 templates and Roslyn could be able to do some of this. Yes. That could work as well. All right. Yeah, let's discuss this. There's definitely something here, but I need to finish following up on these pull requests. So Kabazi opened this one about rendering the ID in HTML. And Hisham had an idea here that the ID and name properties are very useful when working with JavaScript libraries and when using the ASP4 parameter. So I commented we should have a component ID generator. It looks for the name of the ref, grabs the ID and name, and adds that. So Hisham started working on this. Is there a way to access the ref from a base web forms component? And it looks like Hisham landed on something and introduced the generator. So let's take a look at that pull request. Well, I already have it over here. Some controls don't have a proper container, so I'm not able to add ID. I think that might be okay, but let's take a look here at what Hisham has for us. I clicked on files changed. Thank you. So if we have a base web forms component, additional attributes, Hisham added a default string dictionary if there aren't additional attributes. So we always have a dictionary there. We don't have to check to see if there's something. That feels good. ID equals component ID generator generate. Okay, and here's our component ID generator. I'm guessing the ID gets output somewhere. Right? I didn't... All right, let's see. What do we got here? All right, so it's a static method generate based on a base web forms component. To do, get to client ID mode. Yeah, that's a thing. Client ID mode was a way for you to specify in web forms how the ID is being generated. So let's see. Hisham is taking a look at if there is an ID, just output it. That's fine. Component additional attributes if it contains a name. If there is a name, output the name to string. Otherwise, generate ID from the component. Okay, so generate ID must be somewhere else. I don't know where generate ID. Oh, it's here. Duh. Component name GUID new GUID to string. That worries me because it doesn't use a GUID. It uses an integer in web forms for that. Let me keep looking here. Base data binding component has an ID. So he's putting an ID on our base data binding component so that you always do get not just a div with the class on it, but you get a ID with a name on it. Okay, that I think I need to push back on this, and I can't accept it yet. Web forms didn't use a GUID for the counter here, but rather used an int, an incrementing integer. Can we use that instead? There might be something there. So I'm not going to take this in yet. I've got some feedback now for Hisham to take a look at. I like the idea. It makes sense. And we need to implement client ID. I'd also... I think client ID, as you pointed out, will be necessary. Client ID mode. To complete this feature. Not necessary for this pull request. Also, can we get a unit test to go along with this? It also used the parent name too. You're right. You're right. It would walk down the parent. Let me. The client ID in WebForms also referenced the parent object ID. Something like container list view 1. Yeah. So he's on the right direction here. Question hats. What about hats? Is there something in the reward queue that I missed? I have a voiceover request from I Am Not Myself that I can do a little bit later. And I do have one from Robert Tables. I need to get a script from our friend Robert Tables, and I'll record that as well. Oh, you're trying to invoke the bot. Not a problem. Just making sure that that's on both of our agendas here. So there's a couple of issues out here that we've been going through and discussing. Render ID in HTML, so that's the one we just talked about. Blocked on implementing validation group and cause validation. So Kabazi was talking about this. No, I have no updates on this one yet. We need to get the element causing submit in edit form, which is not possible. Nothing yet. We'll reevaluate next week. So this is going to be important for some of our editor controls, that we need to be able to trigger the validation components and get those working. Improve test coverage in the list view grouping. I think we can close now. Yeah, look at all of these. Woo! Yep. That's done. Okay. Default the context for a control to item. Oh, there's this. Form view I'm still working on. What's the comment there? What's the progress on this? We're still working on this. Still working on the read-only mode, and need to be able to trigger and handle commands. We haven't even talked about that part yet. That's going to be interesting when we hit this command object. It looks like Hisham just went down and said, what's the status on everything? So this... Yeah, we're good there. Okay. All right. So the other thing that I wanted to do today is marking highlighting in the Kestrel window meant to block execution. No, it's not. It's not supposed to. Let's do... What time do I got? 11:30. Oh my gosh. Let's do this. Let's deploy this server-side version of the samples. Let's add that in so that gets deployed, so that folks can see it. Actually, the one I should deploy is the WebForms one. I feel like I should deploy all three. But selecting text in the Kestrel console window isn't meant to block execution, but selecting text in a console window on Windows pauses execution. So it doesn't necessarily block Kestrel, but the console pauses when that happens. So let's do this. Let me see. Let's start. I think we can probably just deploy. No, I'm going to need a private window. Let's deploy some of these to Azure. Turn on Azure Mask so that it doesn't show all the secrets to my projects here. And I'm going to go to portalazure.com. Hold on, here we go, friends. Once more into the breach. See if this works, because
60% of the time, it works every time.
It does. It does. Okay. I logged in with my account. My account name is, of course,
Jeff for fun.
kind of. Only half an hour left for Azure deployment. Oh yeah. Am I planning for it to just work? Yes. It should just work. Okay.
What's that?
It should just work.
What's that?
It's going to work this time. Okay.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
big fly thing.
We're gonna get it working. I've got a good feeling on this. Part of me says I should create a new dashboard. I like having new dashboards for each one of my application groups that I have deployed out there. So let's call this, no, I don't know. I don't have anything to put on the dashboard yet. I
Make
will.
it so.
Yes. We will. So I'm going to create a new app service, and I'm not going to give it a ton of power, and we'll add it to this dashboard, right? So I'm going to create a resource. Where's app service? No, I want to. Give me one. Subscription. Now, all right, hang on. I turned on Azure Mask, and it's still showing. Whatever. Sure, I'll choose that one. Resource group. Let's create a new one. BlazorWebFormsComponents. That way, I've got everything for this application in one resource group, so I can just put it down and it's out there. I'm going to call this one. I'm going to call this BeforeWebForms. There we go. I'm going to publish code. Yes. Runtime stack. Why isn't ASP.NET 4.8 in the box? I'm going to guess then. Central US. What? I like East US. Thank you. Windows plan. No, I want a new one. And I'm going to call this BlazorWebForms Components. It has to run on Windows because it's ASP.NET 4.7. No, I don't want. That's a little much. I want something small. This one. Because it's not going to be doing a lot. You know? I could take the really small one, the freebie one, that has very little compute, and it's free. Right? 1 gig of disk storage. Yeah, that's fine too. Because I'm not deploying that much stuff. Right? But if I go to this one, I don't even need a custom domain. I don't care. Do it. Give me the freebie one. Next, monitoring. Just do it. No, I don't want application insights. I don't care if it's knocked down. Tags. I don't need tags either. Come on, give me the thing. So once this is created, I'll be able to light this up. It's not in the box because no Windows images come with .NET 4.8. Well, then how do I use .NET 4.8 with Azure? Am I missing something? Loving my Madrinas coffee. Friends, I was told over this week. So, I'm a big fan of Madrinas. They support us here on the channel. There's a coupon code just below if you want to order some Madrinas coffee. Give it a try for yourself. The coupon code right now is 40% off. At checkout, they tell me that coupon code is going to change on March 1st to 20% off. Everybody's coupon code is going back to 20% off because they're coming off of the winter holidays here and the really big discount that they offered everybody. So if you want to give Madrinas coffee a try, make sure you check it out. 40% off when you use, I think the code is Fritz at checkout. Check the link just below here on Twitch for more details about that. So deployment is complete. I didn't want to go and wire this directly up to DevOps yet, only because I wanted to make sure check and see the version of the stack here, because I'm deploying .NET 4.8 is the version that I'm using. I want to make sure that I can actually use. I can't. Can't use .NET Framework 4.8. Can somebody get me a clip that, you aren't kidding, that .NET Framework 4.8 isn't in the box? I can't use .NET Framework 4.8 with Azure App Service. That's a problem. So once again, we cannot deploy to Azure because Azure doesn't have the Microsoft .NET Framework version that we want to target. All right. I mean, Azure wins again. I don't know what to say to that. Unreal. A Windows container would work for 4.8. Yes. I could deploy onto a virtual machine. Yes. But Windows containers don't work in App Service, right? App Service is the Azure Platform as a Service feature, right? This is what you should be able to just push the button and deploy, and it goes out and runs on that thing. Is there an add-on for 4.8 in the extensions? Let's take a look. See. If there is an add-on that lets you choose and put a different .NET Framework version on here, I would expect to see some sort of a little doodad here, right? That's what these things are called, right? Doodad. Or over here that says, oh, here's the version. You can choose, you can add different versions of .NET by going through to this screen over here if you would like to have a different version installed. I'm willing to bet that I can't do that because .NET Framework needs to be installed on the entire server. Musical Bookworm, you are not wrong at all. Literally, I haven't even pushed the button. All that I've done is say, create this service, and it doesn't work with what was shipped with Visual Studio. That's what those screens are telling me. Let me see. Extensions, site extensions. Is there something in here? What? Great. I'd love to. Azure, this, that, and the other. .NET Core 2.2 runtime. Nice. Not what I'm looking for. Who's Jennifer? Anyway. Freb viewer? I don't know what Freb files are. That sounds interesting. There's another Azure Let's Encrypt. Okay. Logs browser, reverse proxy. I really appreciate the layout here. The CSS is hard formatting. Really warms my heart because I do this too. I'm not the only one that sees this. I don't see anything to do a different .NET Framework version. How do I install .NET Framework 4.8 on Azure? There's tons of Azure documentation. There's got to be something that tells me to do this. Azure support for .NET 4.8, please. Yes. Does anyone have any knowledge? This was open 3 months ago. On Azure App Service .NET 4.8 support. It's the latest. No date has been given for this as of late August 2019. Updating Azure App Service to .NET 4.8 is planned. Are you kidding? Planned. It's so weird that we can't use the latest version of .NET on Azure. .NET 4.8 was released a year ago, and it isn't supported. Friends, come on, Azure people. Yes, sign in with the thing. Okay. Let's go over to this one then. I may need to sign in. Yes, I'd like to. Thank you. This issue, if you'd like to take a look, is over here. And Azure. User voice item. There we go. Yeah. This is... Come on. Okay. So we can't do that, which means we can't deploy this version of the application. Can we just rebuild using a different version of the framework, suggests Smab. You're not wrong. Wrong button. I've got the sensitivity for my mouse turned up really high because I've been playing Diablo. If I can't even dial it down to, if I dial it to 472, does that... 472 is the patch version. It should be the version that's deployed, but yes, I do. I'm sure I want to change it. I'm going to need to rebuild and make sure that it works. Can I just use .NET Core? No, I can't because I'm deploying web forms. Smab, that is an excellent comment. Folks are keeping away from .NET Framework 4.8 because it's not supported on Azure. Thank you. That I appreciate. Can we get a clip on that? Blazor Mr. Magoo has a link for us. Run a custom Windows container in Azure. Terrific. Great idea. Absolutely. I'm not building from... I don't want to build this from Visual Studio. I want to have it compile and do this out on Azure DevOps. So this would be a way to do this. Here's the thing. You're supposed to be able to just right-click deploy from Visual Studio. And I can't do that. So we would need, we would need a bit of YAML work. Callow Creation is here. Hey there, my friend. Callow's a member of the Live Coders team. The code's not working for you. Let me take a quick peek here. Where to go? Render, please. Wait a sec. Oh, you know what? No, the panel isn't there. I don't see... There was supposed to be a Madrinas panel underneath me. Hang on. Let me... Well, that explains a lot. Where to go? Here. Yeah, the code Fritz, all capital letter, F-R-I-T-Z, should work for you for Madrinas. Yeah. Sometimes the one-click magic button just doesn't work. No, you're right. There we go. Yep. Smab, that is an excellent comment. Fantastic. I am going to hang on to that one because I have some folks that are very interested in that type of feedback. Smab, thank you. Lithix broke it. That's okay. We'll fix it. We'll fix all the things here. Thank you for the follow. GRLF shot. Oh, there's a... Is that girl? Girl F shot? Welcome in. I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce your handle there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Can you install .NET 4.8 into a Windows container and deploy it the same way you would deploy a Docker container? Yes. The team did comment they really are running 4.7.2. Did they? Did they? Great, because 4.7.2 is 3 years old. So great, they're running. Although App Service is running 4.7.2, it is rolling out a .NET Framework update that includes the functionality for handling the newer 2019 version of same site spec. So doesn't work. ETA on this from January 2020. Need a timeline for 4.8. Adding this thread this is severely needed, but the December 2019 security update is not deployed as well. So next month, Google is flipping a switch from the default behavior. Yep, for same site is changing. So, yeah. That's a big problem. All right. All right. Shroud works, but not Fritz. Oh, man. Wow. Wow. Gosh. Let me let the Madrinas folks know. Working. Instead, they're using the Shroud code. All right, there we go. Okay, so we can't get 4.8 on Azure, so we would have to step down to 4.7.2. I stepped down to 4.7.2 in this project, and if I right-click, let me do a rebuild and see if it actually works. They want 104 for postage. Yikes. List view does not exist in System Web UI Web Controls in Designer CS. What? Yes, it does. This is inside of default. I smell... Right, there it is. That should build. No. I have a feeling something's... Ooh, are you... What the heck's going on? Alright. Let me close the solution and reopen it. Because I have a feeling something's... with the compilers just out of state here. Now let me try and build that again. Restoring NuGet packages. Ready. Yeah. So, I mean, I changed framework version here. So let me delete the content of my obj folder where it is restoring and generating all this stuff. Right? And rebuild one more time. Am I using the right ASP.NET meta package? What meta package? No. All right. We're batting 1,000 here. Let me close the solution. Well, let's even close Visual Studio at this point. Because I'm floundering. I have no idea why I can't open a .NET Framework project with Visual Studio and have it use the default features that come with it. What do we got? The .vs folder is different. That's user preferences. That doesn't include things about the actual compile. The .vs folder contains things like where windows are positioned and last files that were open, stuff like that. So I'm going to rebuild on this. Restore completed, restore completed. It's not referencing those packages, those projects, so why is it picking those up and saying it needs to build those? Look. It doesn't reference. Right? When you look at the references here, it's not referencing any of my Blazor stuff. But for some reason, in the build process, this smells funny to me, right? In the build process, it went in and worked on the Blazor test project. It was down there. You didn't see it, right? If you look at if you rewind the video and look at it, you'll see it. But I'm still getting this. That list view doesn't exist. Really? System Web UI Web Controls. Okay. What does exist inside there? It was there. It's not in there. What? Hang on. Site, docs, Microsoft.com, web list view. There it is in 4.8. And it's there in 4.7.2 as well. It's in all the versions down to 3.5. Why doesn't it see it here? Yeah, you're right. Why don't we see it? Wandering through our object. Now I'm confused. Now I'm really confused. Is webconfig still pointing? It's 4.7.2, 4.7.2. Yeah. So we're set with target runtime is 4.7.2 here. Target framework 4.7.2. Check the web extensions. Well, we're not using web extensions, and it's not even right. I don't have web extensions referenced here. Right? I'm referencing system web. That's where it is. When we look at the properties on this, here's where we get clobbered. It's not in system web. What do you mean it's not in system web? Webface found this. Can't find the ASP.NET list view control. It exists in System Web Extensions DLL. But I was just looking at System Web Extensions. Why did that work when I was in 4.8? Like, I haven't touched this. I haven't changed my references. There it is. That's dubious for me. Yeah, that's... Yeah, it does say it's in extensions. All right. Why was I able to use it without referencing it?
Mathicon just resubscribed for 4 months.
Thank you so much for that. Is that Mathicon? Appreciate 4 months of support. We'll make another donation to code.org. I'm at the end of my time here. Once again, we have been unable to deploy to Azure. Okay. There is no it isn't a meta package in ASP.NET. It's a meta package in ASP.NET Core, right? And what Gareth's referring to when he says the meta package, so that folks understand, and it's a very good point here that Gareth's making. When you look at the references here, because it references Microsoft.NET SDK Web, it brings in everything that Microsoft ASP.NET has to offer, and that's now available for you to use inside your project. Great. But you don't see all of those references. You can kind of drill down into the dependencies here, and you can actually see right? It brought in ASP.NET Core, and it's not actually going to show me the packages here now. They moved that. Right. This is the meta package here, Microsoft ASP.NET Core app. You can actually look at what that's dependent on and unwind and see here's everything that you get with this. Right. No, not options. Tools, where is it? NuGet Package Manager. Yeah, we'll go to this one. So if I go here and we look at Microsoft, that's not how you spell Microsoft, ASP.NET Core app, and you actually look at the package, it'll show you here's the dependencies and here's what this is what it brings in to it, right? It references and includes all of these other packages in ASP.NET Core, right? This is the meta package, and there's tree shaking that happens at the end, so the things that you don't need don't get included when you deploy. So when you publish, it does the appropriate tree shaking, and you don't necessarily get SQL Server things deployed to your production space if you're not using SQL Server, right? Things like that are in there that as part of the build process to make sure that you don't kind of trip up and include extra stuff. But yes, score is Azure 4, C# Fritz 0. We still have not been able to do deploy. We're going to have to try again another time. Jeff Widmer is streaming now. Well, actually, we're going to be going over to Dev Intersection here any minute now. Let me get Skype open, make sure things are going. So I'm not going to check in or make any changes here because we're not getting anywhere. We didn't make any changes that add value to our project. We've been trying to deploy, and we didn't get anywhere. So we tried to roll back the version of our project, and we didn't get anywhere. So, yeah, Richard is standing by, so we are about ready to go. Rafalix, or is it Rafalix? Welcome in. Yes, we are planning to do an ASP.NET Core 3.0 workshop. That we're going to end up doing here in March. I've got some other things that I need to finish, particularly around Blazor, before we get over there. So if you have further questions, exclusive Adam, drop me a question there in Discord, and we'll take a look at that. Webface, thank you so much for the resub.
CA just resubscribed for 6 months. Got a jet and finish moving.
Oh my gosh. Best of luck to you with your move. So we're going to move on, and we're actually going to raid the Dev Intersection channel, where I'm going to be hosting with our friend Richard Campbell. Let me get the music playing. There it is. I'm going to dial up Richard, and we're going to start a show. We're talking about Power Platform today with Greg Hurlman. We're going to learn all about what you can do, but with just a little bit of code and integrating with your professionally developed services and features live over on the Dev Intersection channel. So, really appreciate the follow, JVB Test. Don't really need a raid call, but we are going to raid Dev Intersection. So you're going to get over there, and right after I stop this stream, I'm going to start up over there, and Richard and I will be on in just a minute. Thanks so much, friends. I appreciate you tuning in. This video, like all my other videos, will be available over on the YouTube channel, but I'll see you over on Dev Intersection.